Hey, Fitzy here, back at it again with another one. Look who it is, it's Crusty. I've been at her. Yes, I have. Now, it hasn't been a lot of interesting stuff. So I've been about a month now picking and poking, getting stuff done on this car. Not exciting, but I'm going to take you guys along and show you where I'm to with Crusty. So stick around. You've probably been wondering what's time to go with this. Crusty's been sat over here in the corner now all summer. It's usually the typical way things go for me. Summer comes along and all honesty, I lose interest in it, okay? The warm weather comes around. Usually the fall of the year, I pick up on it again. It's that time of year again now. I'm not going to get into too much detail here because what I'm trying to get done, I'm trying to get this car in primer. I started to do this car early spring and it's been sat in the garage here. And what is amazing is that all the Toyota metal that I broke through, all rusted in the garage, okay? Everything that I went and touched and broke through, everything went rusty on me. But all this metal here and all the metal I put into it, it's perfect. Okay, it's got a little bit of a haze, small haze on, nothing worth talking about, but it's just so wild how you can look at this metal right here and then look at this metal right here. That metal, I'm telling you, the Toyota, it is brutal. I never done nothing with it because I realized that the more I sands it, it's just going to rust again. So what's going to have to happen here is I'm leaving all this alone until I'm ready to prime it, and then I'm going to sand it all, treat it all, and then prime the body of the car. I've been thinking about it for a while. I'm going to give it one more coat of this white epoxy primer that I got on it, the Intersealed 670HS. Once it's all filled, and then I want to put a regular automotive primer on it after that, because I want to block off all this here with like 180. And usually I double prime everything I've ever done. A lot of people don't like that. The problem, I've come from a background of doing heavy filler work, okay? And it's so hard the time you have to spend to finish off your filler work, and a lot of times your edges, things never look right, and you're sanding it, you end up with these little splotches all over the place. That was never happening. I always wanted to seal it off, block it out, and see where it's to, and then do the touch-ups if need be. Now my touch-ups are not big, it's usually stone chips, stuff like that, right? But that's the process. What I got left on this here now is just this quarter panel. There's always left to fill on this main shell. Everything else is ready to go, other than I got to resand it all. So I'm just going to blow right on through this and get this done. I got to do some work down here, same as I did on the other side. If you're not familiar with this car, this is Crusty. This entire car was a rusted Hulk, okay? There is a whole bunch of videos on my channel on this car from start to finish, right from when I brought the car in as an original Toyota and cut it down, okay? There's a full documentation on this car. I do it bit by bit, full custom chassis, suspension, everything is homemade in shop, all done on a budget, all done with just a simple welder, okay? There's nothing elaborate done with this here. It's just basically just, working with your hands. But I got to do some welding right here and dolly work and welding work on this quarter panel here. And then I got to get this all done in fiberglass and get it all filled. I'm not going to bore you with that, okay? I just want to get all the body work done on this and get it done, because I need to move forward with this car and it's been sitting around way too long and I want to get it done, okay? I got a lot of things on my plate here. Got this truck, got that truck, got that car. There's too much here, okay? I want to be working on my own stuff. So I'm going to go ahead now and I'll just take you along. You'll see me doing a little bit at a time. I'm going to blow through this. God knows how long it's going to take me to do it, but I'm going to turn around and get this all filled, and so I can get it moved on to the whole point that we can start getting ready for primer. And there it is, completed. I never got into the process of how I done everything on this here, filling it. I covered that in another video where I done all the body work on the quarter pound on the other side and then all the rest of it. While I was waiting for filler to dry on this, I went ahead and started sanding the roof where all the rust was too on it. It's all coming off pretty easy. I got to go over it all with 220 again. But I'm pleased with how it's all sanding off. You can still see the grinding marks from when I stripped it for originally. I'm getting ready here now. I have a mess in this garage now. Going right on and around. All the way out through there. I got the boot set up here to try to contain most of it. I got a lot of it contained in here. But I'm going to clean everything up here now. And then I'm going to position the car in the middle here and get ready so I can get it all taped up. I got to get everything blown off. I still got to sand the lower side on the other side. All this stuff here on the other side that wasn't sanded before. That's got rust and everything on it. Get that all prepped. Get it all taped up and get it primed. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a clean up here and get everything set up. So I've been busy. I haven't bothered to film nothing. I'm trying to get this car primed and get it done, get it over with. This is just plain dirt work is what I'm at here now with this. I went ahead and I cleaned the entire garage. Come out here, opened up all the doors, blew everything off, cleaned out this bay, took the car out by the door, blew it all out, blew everything out, swept up the bay area, got it all clean, everything, hauled it back in. Then I went ahead and I sanded over this side here that I missed out on. And where the spots where it was all gone rusty. Resanded everything again. Then I resanded all this section here again. I sanded the entire car with 220 sandpaper and oscillator. Mostly the bodywork and anything else. I resanded all this here so it's nice and smooth. Still a few flaws in it. I'm not worried about it right now. I find this stuff like this here, big jobs like this, kind of like get to you. And, you know, you start seeing things and you start running around chasing little things and it just drives me, right? I'm going to bang a coat of primer on this now, 3 coats on it. And then when I blocks it out, I'll see what I'm left with to see if I need to do any more filler work on it or not. But it all feels pretty good. It's going to be good enough for me, I think. I'm painting the car white, so I can get away with a lot, right? I'm more concerned about the lines being nice on the car. But I'm here now, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tape it up and get it ready so I can get a coat of primer on this. Oh, the fun. So I'm here taping this up here now and show you what I got done. I'm using an old drop sheet. You buy them at the dollar store, and one is basically will cover all the windows in this car. And the reason why I'm just using the drop sheet is because I can get it the right length, and I haven't, of course, got no paper or nothing, but nothing that size. But what I've been doing here is I taped it on the back side of this lip, and then hanging plastic down, sticking it on, and then I've been taping part of the lip. I'm not too concerned about this lip. Okay, there's some rubbers going on that, same with this back lip here. Right, so I put tape on it a bit, and I just moved it back. If I never saw it, I'm probably going to miss a few spots, but as long as I get most of this lip along this edge here, I'm happy with that. And I'm just going around and taping up a section. I got everything taped up and along here now. I'm trying to keep as much overspray off stuff as I can, because it just makes more work for me. You can just say, oh, the hell with it, I got to paint this anyway, but still, it just turns into a nightmare, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead now and keep going and get all this here taped up. What am I using to tape it up? This is stuff from dollar store. I think there's like $1.50 a roll. And like I got 1 inch and I got 2 inch here. This stuff is extremely expensive when it comes to automotive materials. Okay, when you go out and you buy, like, you know, I can remember the last time I think I bought a roll of 2 inch automotive tape, it was well over $10 a roll. Okay, and this stuff used to be $3.25, $3.50, and I don't think it's nowhere near that now. I think it's a lot more than that again. But this stuff's at dollar store, and like cheap tape, a lot of it is absolute garbage. But I found this stuff a number of years ago, this green stuff, Pro Painter it's called. It's like a painter's tape, and I find it good enough for this. Now I wouldn't use it for nothing too elaborate, but it's great for this. It sticks, and it's got a nice shape to it. I can actually curve it a small bit, like to go around corners with it. It's not half bad. It stretches a small bit. But I've been using that. A lot of tapes won't even stick to anything, right? But this stuff works good. So that there, and little $1.50 for a little cover, plastic cover. I got one here already opened, and this one I'm going to use. That's all I'm using. Everything from me is on a budget. I try to find cheap ways to do everything. I think I had enough of this for one day. I got it all taped up. It wasn't easy. Trying to tape everything in, trying to keep overspray off of everything, off the roll cage, trying to keep everything to a minimum. I just took my time taping everything up. All I did is I taped it inside, on the inside section of it. You can see tape right here. I taped that on the back side there all the way around, and I draped a sheet over the roof, and then I dragged it down, and then touched it in the middle, and then worked my way around, and I trimmed it, and then I taped it then, again, out over the outer edge of it, just onto the lip a small bit. This one here is basically, all this is just stuck onto the tape going down through there. Hopefully it'll stay there. Up along here now I went and ran a strip of tape, but I didn't want to get on the lip of this one because I want to prime this, right? This lip, this is a crucial piece, but that's pretty well it. I got her up on 4 jack stands, got all the wheels taken off her, and I'm not going to bother to tape up nothing down low because all that down there's got to be painted anyway, so. But that's basically it. I'm going to go over now once with a scotch pad, have a close look at everything, make sure everything is copacetic, and then I'll prime it. Yeah, but that's going to be tomorrow. Prime day tomorrow. I got one coat on, slow going, stuff a stick. But I'll let that set up a bit then. I'm going to go in and bang another coat on her. Concentrate on everywhere where there's bodywork too, quarter panels, all that type of stuff. Bit tricky. I had the plastic over here was blowing up on the rocker panel. I don't mind it so much. I got some dandy runs in this too, look. But I don't mind that, because what this primer is doing for me now is I'm using it as a sealer and actually as a top coat, because I'm going to sand all this now probably 180 when it's done, and then reprime it again. I just wanted to get something out of it because it's just, I cannot leave this any length of time and it goes rusty. Okay? And I'm not one when I'm doing heavy body work to turn around and try to finish everything off perfect. I have a few pinholes, I fill them up with primer. This primer is pretty stout, it doesn't shrink, so it's great for that. Once something is filled up, it's done. Right, that quarter panel look half bad, look. But I'm gonna go ahead, not gonna bore you with that. I'm gonna go ahead now and let this set up for a bit and bang another coat on her. Some of you may be wondering again, it's Interseal 670HS. This is an industrial line, usually used in pipelines and that type of stuff. It's not considered a automotive paint or primer. I've used it in the past and I find it fantastic. It's very hard to sand, okay? It's okay to use for like a filler type thing for filling up scratches and stuff like that, and then block it out with probably 180, but try to sand this stuff at 400. It is a nightmare. If you watch my channel, you've noticed I've talked about it before. It comes with an activator, this one here, and it's like molasses is what it looks like, but it's mixed 4-to-1, and then I reduce it down with just the old shop thinners is all I'm doing with it, right? You can buy a reducer for that. I was here earlier and had my little water separator on my, where's the other piece of go to? There it is. That broke off. First time I ever had one of them break off. I've been using them for years. So I said, shag, it's only primer. So I just bolted it right out of the gun, come on with it. Had a couple of primer guns here, and I just ended up sticking with the one that I'm used to using, my old paint gun. So is a bit slow coming out of it because the gun is not set up for that. This stuff is extremely thick, so I got the thing turned in. I'm not concerned about getting a beautiful coat on it. I'm just looking to get lots of coverage and get lots of primer on it. Anyway, enough of that. Get back to getting the rest of this prime. I have 3 heavy coats on it. This is good gear, this is. I really like this for this purpose. Like I can see a lot in this here and I'm like, oh yeah, well, that got to be blocked out and whatnot. So I'll put a guide coat on this now, block this down. And if there's anything on it that I don't like, I'll just do small repairs. And I'll put a dust and a primer over everything again. Scrub it off and paint it. Trying to make it look half sensible. But like when you look across it now, like, the nicest thing I like about this primer is it doesn't fill, it fills stuff up, but it doesn't level out. If there's any imperfections in it, I don't know if you can see that up there or not. When I move that across there, you can see the imperfections in this section of the roof right here. And what they are, they're the actual rings where all the spots were sanded, and they're after sinking right into that edge of that there. So now when I block it off, I should be able to take care of it. I blocked out a lot of stuff on this car, all down through here. There's no filler, but I done all this with a 24 grinding disc and stripped it, and then when I blocked it out, it all went smooth. Right? So stuff is good gear for that. It's great for the heavy body work. But I'll let this set up here now. Call it a day. Leave the fan going for an hour. Make sure there's nothing in here and everything is setting up. And then we'll be on to our next project on this. I'm gonna get started on getting all the floor seam sealed and getting all that painted satin black in and along there, get inside the trunk done. I gotta get these rear wheel wells done. The bottom of the car gotta be painted. I can do all that now in this primer, so by the time all that's done, I should be ready to start sanding this again. I'm trying to get this thing done, and I'm trying to spend some time at it, so that's it. Until tomorrow. This next day. She's all dry. You can see where it all sunk into all the filler work and all that. That's what I like about this stuff. You got a tendency to sink into things. It doesn't bridge, and I've talked about that many times before. See if I can get that there light on that. You can see the spot right there. Look. See that there? It's actually sunk into the filler. So a lot of times, a lot of fillers will go right smooth. You won't see nothing. This stuff here, I could see every little flaw that's in it, every bit of filler work. Right? But yeah, stays to a satin sheen. Doesn't dry flat. But there's lots of primer on this now. Ooh, look, flow indicators. So it's been a few days. I got it all on tape and been working here. This here now, you can see the sheen is on it. I'm gonna let this set up for a few days now, or for a few weeks, I'm willing to say, by the time I get everything done that I want to get done. Now that I got the primer on this here, this will be the first coat over the filler work, and I'm gonna block this out, see what it looks like, and if I gotta do any repairs, I'll do it. And I'm just going to give it a regular priming. I'm going to pick up some regular automotive primer, and the reason for that is I don't want to be fighting with this sanding it, because this stuff is good gear, but it's horrible to sand, okay? It's great for what I'm going to use this here for now, because I found at 180, 220, it seemed to sand okay, but when you get up to 400, 320, that type of stuff, it becomes a nightmare to sand. I went through all that when I did Wendy's Mustang, okay? So, I'm going to let this all sink in here and leave this alone. What we're going to get into now is I'm going to get into getting all this stuff here, all seams sealed up, all these edges here, everywhere all the welding was done. That's how I'm going to do it. Okay? Got a couple of cans of that there. Right? I've been using this stuff, Dominion Shore Seal, brushable seam sealer, for years. I love this stuff. This is, I'd rather this than a caulking tube. Anytime I've done any restorations, this is what I'd use for doing all my seams and stuff like that. Now, when it comes to the seams in the car, doing restorations, this is the layout that I found. None of the bottom of the car gets seam sealed other than the wheel tubs. Inside the wheel tubs here had to be seam sealed, okay? All that. Everything else is done from the top side. That was the reasoning why I had the metal go like I did. When I was welding these panels in, I was overlapping them front to back in such a way that the wind or and all that blowing underneath the car wouldn't run into an edge. It'd flow off the overlap onto a piece of metal going the opposite direction. Like right here, it's hard to see it, but right here, this piece of metal is underneath this piece of metal here. So this is on top of it, so that any water or anything like that going off the back of it will run off the back of it this side here, okay? That's the way it usually is. Many muscle cars that I know of have no seam seal on the bottom side. This in here will be seam sealed, all the seams and stuff like that. I'll seam the wheel wells. I got to do some more work down there. We'll get into that. In here on the floors, I'll do the same thing. I'll seam seal up all the edges and everything. The firewall, I'll seam seal it in here. And I'll also seam seal it out here, okay? Because this is the one that's going to take the brunt of everything because it's got the wind blowing at it this way here. And the chances of getting everything from the outside is hard. So I actually double seam seal it and seam seal it from the inside as well. But that's what I'm going at here now with all this. Next thing I got to get into now is where I made up these wheel tubs, okay? And I made them up. The lighting here is brutal. Where I made up these wheel tubs, I welded sections together, but on the back side of them, I left them raw, the welding, and I just knocked the head off it a bit. I'm going to buzz that off, and I'm going to put a bit of fiberglass along them seams where I welded them. Now, as you can see in here, you can see there's a weld here, and there's a weld going up along here, going all the way around the wheel tub here, and going across here and across here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a quick rub over with the grinder to see what they're like and make sure that like get rid of any rust. There's a few spots here I want to grind off up here that I'm going to hit with the grinder, but I'm going to hit them all with the grinder there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a skim of fiberglass, tight skim of fiberglass on over them there, just so that you won't see the weld, and it'll be a smooth transition. And anywhere else that I figure that there might be a hole or something, I'm going to, like a pinhole, I'm probably going to give it a dart with the fiberglass. I just like to have this here smooth in here. I'm going to turn around and get seam seal all this. Like this has to be seam sealed. This here has to be seam sealed up along here. But when it's all said and done, I'm going to seam seal it up. I'm going to paint it satin black. And then the wheel wells alone, nothing else, just the wheel wells, I'm going to put like a gravel guard finish on them. I want to have a nice, because this is the spot that's going to take a lot of beating from rocks and stuff like that. So I want to put something on it to protect it, okay? The rest of the bottom of the car, all I'm going to do is just sand it. Paint it. That's it. Everything in here is just going to be sanded and painted. I'll sand all these spots here where I've after welding everything on, stuff like that, and start cleaning this up. There's a little bit of surface rust in there where it's been laid up, and I'll give it a quick grinding and mix up some fiberglass and get on there. That was dirt work down on them wheel wells, grinding that off. I cleaned them up, is all I done when I'm grinding them off. Knocked down any wells that I thought was a little bit too high. Now I'm going to cover up the wells there with a concoction. I don't have a lot of this fiberglass stuff, and I find it really thick, this short strand stuff that I got. This wasn't the stuff that I was after, but I ended up getting it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix a bit of this with some filler. Yes, filler. You're not supposed to mix it to them. I don't care, because all this is to me is a seam sealer, okay? I'm making a makeshift seam sealer to cover up them welds, so when you put it up on the ramp and you look at the wheel welds, you don't see where everything's welded together. That's all it is. It'll be all box lined later on, but I just want to have it smooth looking so you don't actually see the welds. So I'm going to mix up a concoction here now and see what I comes up with. Just look at that concoction I got mixed up here. I'm not going to put a lot of harden on it because I don't want it to harden up too fast on me. But when I was in the trade, depending on what we were doing, the concoctions we mixed up were crazy. I've often picked up shavings off the floor and mixed it in with filler just so you got more bulk to it. You make more, right? Look at that, look. Plaster. I wouldn't recommend doing this now by no means. This is my car, and I'm looking to get some work done on it, and it's been laying around too long, and I want to get some stuff done with it. So I'll go in and apply this on the car now. Well, to be gone. Just looks like regular filler, doesn't it? But that look a lot tidier now. I'll give that a quick smoothing over, and when I get everything else seam sealed, it looks rugged there now. But when all that gets done, it's like when you look in the wheel well, you'll see a box liner. You won't see the actual wells that are in that, and look a lot tidier. And also it seals up anything. If I missed any pinholes or whatnot there, that'll seal it all up. This is the other side. Seams are in a different location, but that's perfect. Give that little buzz down. That'll be brand new. While I was at it, I went and done repairs on the quarter panels. So I had a spot there where I welded a piece in, and a spot there where I welded a piece in. So I also put that on it as well. And that way, that when you open the trunk, you won't look in there and see the backside of a piece. It just cleans it up, makes it look a lot nicer. And you can see this texture here? This is the texture I'm going to go after. I'm going to repeat this section right here. I'm not going to come over the whole work slip. I like to do the same thing. And this is the texture that I want in the actual wheel well. So now that I got that done, what I'm going to do here now is, because this is going to be visual, all I'm going to be doing with this after I seam seals it is painting it a satin black. I'm not going to do nothing with it. So I'm going to grab a bit of hunter paper now and just give these here a little buzz over just to smooth them out, and just give everything a quick rubbing over to make sure that everything is good with a bit of hunter paper, just so that it's half smooth before I start seam sealing it. A lot of you have seen me using my new Vivor sander, electric one. It is fantastic. I use it to do the bodywork on this quarter panel over here. It works great. This has what they call a hookah pad on it, okay? It takes stickets, and you can hook them on, take them off, and whatnot. Now, I want to sand all this with a 100. This is the 100 that I got here. These are called stickets, okay? These got like a glue on the back side of them, and that pad is on my small palm sander, okay? Now this pad here won't fit that oscillator. I haven't really sized it up. I had a quick look at it. I think it's a little bit different the way it mounts. This has an Allen key with a screw in it, and this just takes a wrench and is actually permanent part of the pad. But this is what I'm going to use. So you see me using this one here, wondering why I'm not using this one. It's just because the sandpaper is different. So I got all that sanded. Now you don't have to get over particular with it, because I got to seam seal it, and a lot of spots are mostly over here because there's a framework underneath that there that I had to basically mount on the bottom of the car. So I wanted to make sure that there was all feather edged out nice when it came to it. If you remember when I put these panels in, one of the tricks that I done is I sanded all the panels first. Then when I put them in, I didn't have to worry about over sanding stuff. I just give it a quick rub over. Everything seems to be fine as kind. Clean up some spots all around here where everything was along this edge here. All that there is cleaned up. Then I turn around, I blew it out. I scuffed off the two wheel tubs. I'm not doing nothing with them. They are what they are. And I blew everything out, down around the corners, stuff like that. And then I took a vacuum cleaner and vacuumed it all out. So I'm basically ready here now to go seam sealing. I'm not going to get carried away here with doing a whole bunch of stuff on this car all at once. I'm going to take an area of the car, this trunk section, and I'm going to seam seal this up because it is tedious and time consuming. And when that's completed, then I can move on from there. Now I do have some small issues. Right here in this corner, when I welded the piece together, there's a gap there. All I'm going to do is I'm going to back that up with a piece of tape on the back side so I can seam seal it up. And then when the seam sealer sets up, it'll actually take to it. Holes like this, gaps like this here are everywhere in a car, especially in old muscle cars. And I've noticed it over the years. Sometimes I've seen holes you can put your fingers through and that are filled up with seam sealer. Now, I'm not looking to make all this, perfect, okay? I'm making this look like it would be if it was a factory muscle car, okay? I'm going to seam seal it the way I've seam sealed it for over 20 years for sure. And I just find it a lot tidier and neater. I don't like running little beads of silicone with a caulking gun. It just looks, it looks like it's been done with a caulking gun. I never ever like that. I does it with a brush, brushes it on. That's the way it was done from factory on a lot of cars. Some use special machines. I've used them where it's sprayed on and it's got a texture to it. No, I'm going with the tried and true, the way I used to see a lot of GM cars done. It was all brushable. Here's everything that I need to do this. What I have here, I bought a box of cheap 2-inch brushes. Don't have to be 2 inches, but usually 1.5 inches for best kind, but this is what was on sale. I prefer the wooden handle ones. I find the plastic ones, when you're working them over time, what ends up happening, they ends up bending here and they breaks off because the seam sealer is really, really heavy. So I like using the wooden ones. Of course, then it's the seam sealer. As you can see there, it's a quart of it there. And then a Tim's cup. What do we got this for? Well, I'm going to show you this. There's one for that. There's one for that. It's just cheap old solvent. Thinners is what it is. It's after getting brutal now. This is all recyclable stuff because it goes yellow. Almost looks like gasoline. But that is all you need there to get this done. What I do is I'll do a couple of feet with the seam sealer. Then I'll take the actual thinners then with another brush and brush over the top of it and smooth it right out. So it's nice and smooth. And that way you're not left with them heavy brush strokes. And when it flows out, a lot of times you can't even see where it's done. My main concern is to actually fill up these seams here, okay? And I'll actually probably do a seam sealer all along this section here and along here, like that type of thing. And then I'll take the brush and go over it. So I'll just show you now. Another thing with this here you're going to have to remember is this stuff here is potent, okay? If you're in a garage for a few hours with this stuff here and that can is open and you're applying it on and you're using this thinner and you're applying it on, is make sure in a well-ventilated area or you have a respirator on. I'm going to put a respirator on here and it's pretty cold here, so I'll open up the door every now and again. But I have the respirator on for the most of it, so that way I can get it all done. This is all that it looks like when it's done. Okay? Going up along here, looks messy, but it's all flowing out. I done the brush, brushed it on, and then I went over it again with thinners to smooth it all out and has sort of flowed out. So when this is all painted, you won't really notice the edges of the actual seam sealer, okay? So here's where I'm to. It looks rugged. Everything is done. It's nice and smooth. Some people like taping stuff off. I don't like doing that, okay? Because all this here is going to blend in when you paint it, and that's the way they looked. If you ever looked at a factory floor, this is the type of thing it looked. My biggest concern is that I got these here seams filled up, okay? Seams down here are filled up. All up along here. The seam up here is filled up. The seam along the back here is filled up, okay? Same with along here, going up along here. It looks messy. I just find that when the paint is over the top of it, it looks deadly, okay? It just looks very clean. You can still see all your lines. You don't see all the lumps and everything from like doing it with a caulking gun, smooth it out with your finger. Tape marks, I never liked them because you could actually see the two tape marks. I just like having everything blended one into the other. I'm going to go on now and finish doing this and get all this seam sealed up. And there you have it. That's the trunk done. I never done up the top side up here because I'll do all that from the inside and here. I never done down inside of here because I'll do that from underneath the car on the bottom. Because I'm big concerned that I try not to get no smoke in this car when you do burnouts. That's what my main concern is. But you can look at it there. You can see it looks crude looking. Right? But I can tell you now, when a coat of black paint goes over top of that, it looked nice. Like you get down here now, you look at that seam there. Okay. Going across the back there. Coming down. Everything is filled. Okay. I'm pleased with that. I'm finding that the white paint is giving me a bit of a nightmare. Another thing too, some of you may ask, why don't you turn around and prime all this beforehand? Because I'm using the thinners to smooth it out. All that is just going to make it all mucky, okay? If you strip seam sealer off a car, there's nothing underneath it, okay? For the most part. I'm dealing with a lot of muscle cars over the years, and this is basically where my concept comes from. You can look over here now and you can see the way that looks there. You can see the brush strokes there, but they're right subtle. Okay, some people would like to just tape that off and smooth it out and on-tape it and have that tape lines all over the place. I don't like tape lines, I do not. When this is all painted, you're not going to see this jagged edge, okay? This is going to be very hard to see when all this is black. There's no edge there that you can talk about. All that's just tapered off into it. It's just tapered off where it wants to go, and simple as that. But that is the gist of seam sealing the way I've done it for years, okay? It's the following evening now. You can actually see what this looks like. You can actually see all the lines, okay? All that is sealed up, but it's all nice and smooth. You can look up across there and you can see all the seams along there. It do have a rugged look to it, but when you run your hand across that, you can't feel none of that. All that there is just, you know, it just looks, the change in the color is what makes it look really bad. The trunk is done. I'm happy with that. All that there is like even over in this corner here where the holes too. It's kind of hard to see, but the spot is gone. What I got to do next now is I got to get up here and do the wheel wells tonight. So I'm down here underneath her now. This is that drop off section. I'm going to have to seal it up back across here. Up there is sealed up, I'm not worried about it. And I got to seal the front section here and this lower lip here as well. I got to seal that up. I might leave this alone because there's going to be a drainage in this here. And if any water gets in the trunk, I'll let it drain out. But I'm going to seal up the back here, and I'll seal up this front section here. Got to get that wheel well up there sanded. Give it a quick rub off. Just knock the high spots off it, and then I can get in there and start seam sealing that up. I got to do the same with that side, and that side there, and that panel there. That is just dirt work. Absolute dirt work. You see what I got done there? All I did is I had old cheap pads out there, and I think they're like 80 grit, and I put in my grinder, and I just knocked it down with the grinder. That's it. Smooth that out. Smooth that out a bit better there now. I was all full of dust there and couldn't see much, so I'll go ahead and get that all done because this is absolutely dirt work here tonight. Here is a better look now. I've it all grinded off. That's smooth enough for that. See, this is the transition from one to the other. You don't see the big knobby, the wells that we're going down through there. It just cleans it up, makes it smooth. I'm going to be box lining this, so this here, you won't see none of this. Now I got to get in here now and seam seal this here, seam this here, down along here, and like this corner, and then in along here, I got to get seam sealer on this lip. I'm going to fill the dust still up there now. And then along there, get all that there done, seam sealed up. I am not going to get into taking any long. I'll go ahead and get this done. And next time he sees this, it'll be done. There it is. I lying on my back doing this is gross, I can tell you. All around the top. Everything is done. It looks lovely, doesn't it? Looks like cake mix. But no, that's the way I want it. These wheel wells, I want to be able to take a pounding. I want it to, like, you know, rocks, debris, anything like that, to be able to get up in there. And I want to seal all this off. Trying to have this so I don't have a problem with getting a lot of smoke in the car if it does a burnout. Remember, this is a street car I'm planning on building here, so I'd like to be able to have it and drive it. And if it gets caught in the rain, it's, you know, it's fine. This is the other side. Everything out the wheel well, down the back. I got everything down the back there done. But that's it. The wheel wells are seam sealed. Look at that lovely texture. That's the way I want it. That's the way it would have came. Would have had a heavy texture on it. It all depends what car you're talking about now, people. But that's the look that I likes. And it's me who we got to please. So it's now the next day. And I got the rear wheel wells done. And no light here now, but they're all done and dried up and stuff like that. I got them done. So I have the rear wheel wells done. I have the trunk done. Now I got to work on inside here, okay? My whole plan is to do this and section this as well. I'd like to try to get this all done one smack, but I got to start up in the back here. Now, one thing I've looked into, I want to use this as a street car. I'm an old fella, and these door bars are, you know, when I was 20 years old, it was nice to get in and out over them. But if I plan on driving this on the street, I would like to be able to have them removable, okay? So I bought a kit where I can actually put a swing out bar in this here and mount it later on. So to make life a lot easier for me getting in and out of the back into this now so I can get it all sealed up, I'm going to mark these here now and cut these bars off. What it is two pieces got to be welded on here and two pieces put on here, and then there's pins goes through them. So when I'm just deciding to go for a Sunday run, I can take these door bars out of it, and I haven't got to worry about crawling in and out over the bars all the time, okay? So just making life a lot easier on an old fella. That's all I'm doing, okay? So I'm going to mark these out now and get the grinder and get them cut off and get them sections out of there so I can get started on getting these floors ready. Now I have some tape where I want to mark it to. I want to trim this back more than this here, but the pieces that I'll be putting in there usually take up about this much room, so I got to cut a section out of the bar on the top and the bottom anyway to do this. I'm not going to get into that right now. All I'm concerned about now is getting this bar out of the way. But what I got to watch here now is that because this is a full welded structure, I don't know if this is going to bind on me or not. I'm trying to cut this in such a way that the last cut will be up here on the top side, because I'm afraid that when I make the cut through this here, this is all going to close up on me and bind the blade. So you got to be very careful anytime you're cutting anything that's solidly welded in place, because this all shrank and pulled and did everything when it got all welded together. So you don't know what's going to happen. This might pop apart and it might close up on me. I don't know. So when you're making cuts like this, look at it and say, okay, now here's the easiest cut here. Okay, this is the hardest spot to cut here. So I'll cut the bottom first, get that cut, and have it so that my last spot where I break through was right here on the top side, so that if it do bind, I'll be comfortable to the point that I can actually let the blade get crushed or whatever, and I'll be out of the way. It'll be very awkward down here, because you're going to see I'm probably going to have to get inside and lie down to cut this, or figure out some way to cut the bottom here first, so I get the top side ready that I can cut it off. But I'm going to cut it up here first before it cuts down here, because if anything's going to happen, it's going to happen now on the first cut, and then down here on the bottom side, I'll just repeat the whole process and just cut it all off down there. There'll be no stress on the bar then, because it'll be already cut on one end. Absolutely nothing moved. It's the same gap there as what the blade is. I was concerned it was going to bite me, like it was going to close up on me. It's going to close up that way. But that's fine. I went and marked them. I don't know if it makes a difference, but I figured just to be safe, I'll mark each side, the top and the passenger side, so when I cut it out, I'll know where the pipe belongs. I'm going to go ahead now, get the rest of them cut out. When you come back, I'll be able to get in this car. So I got both door bars cut out. This one down here, I had troubles cutting that one where I had it marked, so I went on the other side of the tape over here and cut it off. Now, the way this is, the way these units work, there's like 2.5 inches from either end, so I got to cut a good 4 inches out of the actual pipe in order to actually reinstall it again to put the actual swing braces in there, okay? So I got that cut off there, that'll be fine there. I can cut all the excess stuff off on this down here and up here. I'm hoping to just move this one back into here a bit more because the piece is going to stick out about this much. Like from where's to now, it'll stick out probably to here, I figures, right? So the piece that I'm putting on it, I like to get it back as far as I can, but I don't want to go back too far up here because I can't weld it from behind. I can weld it from right here, but it's kind of hard to actually get in here and weld it way up here on the back side here. And I want to have a complete weld right around that piece that I put in, okay? So now that I got that all out of the way, I'm going to run some tape over the edges of them so I don't hook them because they're pretty sharp. And to protect myself. And then I'll get the vacuum out, get this all cleaned up, and start sanding. So I got everything vacuumed out here now. What I'm going to work on now, I have some 100 stickets here. Again, I talk about them, they're stickets, so I got to use my air oscillator to do this. I'm going to go around and buzz off all these spots that I actually done all my spout welds to, just to smooth them out. And there's a little bit of surface rust on everything, where it's been kicking around now for about 6 months. This is the worst thing about projects like this here, is like you should stay at them, and I'm doing everybody else's cars and my stuff always goes on hold, and this is what I have to deal with. So anyway, that's it. I'm gonna go ahead now and start sanding all this stuff and get it done. Well now, that was fun. I got everything resanded. The problem I had with this car is that I let it sit for too long, okay? All these little spot welds and everything had little dibs of surface rust on it. I had to go back and clean every single bit of bare metal in this here to remove all the surface rust and everything was off it again. If I had that many time back, I should just stayed at it and get it done, but work gets in the way and you just got to put your own stuff on the back burner. But I got all this done. I never worried about getting it like perfectly feather edged out or anything. This will be all going satin black after it's sealed up. I was going to go crazy with it and paint it all white, but it's just way too much work because my plan here is to put like a sound deadener sheeting on it, everything. I want to carpet all this section here, okay? I want to carpet the tunnel, the floors, this section right here up as far as here, and then I'm going to put I'm going to build a back dash pad that'll go across here. That'll be painted satin black, and there'll be nothing in it. Okay, it'll be just plain. That's the plan for that. When it comes to seam sealing it, I'm not seam sealing none of this or any of this up here. Okay, any of this up along here. The whole thing with it is this is a fire barrier from anything from the trunk, okay? I'm not worried about the fumes because your fuel tank should have a vent and everything on it. You shouldn't have fuel or anything like that coming into the car from there. My main concern is outside, which is the bottom, okay? So I'll seal up down along here, okay? All this stuff up here, down along here. Everywhere where there was a join, I'm going to seal up and separate it from the bottom side of the car. Now the wheel tubs been sealed on the bottom side as well, but I'm going to still seal them up along here. Like they've already been sealed up in here on the bottom side, but I'll just double it up, seam seal this section down here, all this down along here, in along here, all this, okay, up around the firewall, the top side of the firewall up here, got to be seam sealed across the top, and down and along the doorpost sections right here, I got to seam seal all that down through there. So I'm going to be busy today seam sealing, okay? So let's dig out the seam sealer, get a mask on, and just start seam sealing everything up. Oh, this is going to be fun. I'm all ready. I got everything blown off. I hope you can hear me through the mask. This is a must, because this stuff is toxic. A brush and a pair of gloves, because this is going to get messy. Might as well get started. Come to find that the thinners is not doing any difference to it. It still flows nice without brushing it. And so I decided just to let it go, whatever way it goes, it goes. More or less what I'm doing here now is anywhere that I don't like the look of it, I'm wiping it off with thinners around the roll cage and such. Just trying to clean it up a bit. Why do you tape it up? Because then you get it all over the tape and then it peels it off and you get a sharp edge on it. I just want to have a nice clean edge, that's all I want. That's it, done. You can see what I got done here. All up along there. Going down inside there. Ooh, looks lovely, doesn't it? All along in there. All back here in the corner. Everything is sealed up, the wheel top going up through there, across the top. Around the roll bars. All the corners, sealed out on the rockers. Over here around the column, in the corner, up on the top. Again around the transmission tunnel. Back through her, back in this corner, around the roll cage. Looks like cake mix, doesn't it? Yeah. And of course seal it off on the rockers here. A lot of people would have tried to taped all this off or just put a little smish in there with a seam sealer with a caulking gun. Not me. Sorry, that's not me. I've always done it this way and I've always liked it because it's just it's the way it was done. It was just brushed down. Then, you know, it wasn't until years later. Some of Porsches and that had some interesting caulking gun setups. It was more of a sprayer than it was anything else. It sprayed like a 3/4 inch bead around stuff. They were pretty cool. I got the gun there somewhere, but it takes a special type of tube with seam sealer in it, and the stuff's not cheap, I can tell you that. But that's it for that. So here's where we're to. Got the floors all done. They're all sealed up. I got the bodywork all done. I got everything put in primer. I got the trunk all sealed up. I got everything resanded. I got the wheel wells filled and seam sealed. They're done. Like I was saying, all this in here has been seam sealed. I got the roll bar, door bars cut out of it. I've been busy at it. Usually I've been spending a couple hours a night at it, coming out here, working on other stuff here in the garage now, and I've been just trying to get up enough time on this video to put something out. A lot of you guys have been asking about Crusty, And it's just, I'm just doing tedious work with this now. It's just the small stuff, the stuff that, you know, it's kind of hard to make content on it, but it's part of the build, okay? This is the stuff that, you know, people, oh, that's all he's at. How come he's not fabricating stuff? But hey, this is it. I'm going to have a lot of this coming up now. I'm going to be doing more of the same. I got to get these door bars installed. The whole bottom side of the car I'm going to have to get prepped and painted. All this in here got to be all painted. The trunk got to be painted. The wheel wells got to be painted and gravel guarded. Up here on the firewall, I got to do another bit of metal work on this here. The original firewall in the Toyota had the serial number stamped into the firewall, and I cut that section out, so I was to weld it into the firewall here. So she retains her same serial number on the body itself. So I'll get that done. This got to be seam sealed up. This here is going white. Okay, this firewall. I want to do this white, but everything else, the bottom side and inside, I'm going to do black. I was going to do it all in white, but I does it in white, and then I put a liner on it. Not a liner, what do you call them? Dynamat, all the inside of this here. I don't know if I'm going to use that stuff. I heard some fellas talking about stuff on Amazon and stuff like that. If you know of anything, I'm also looking for a link to a good automotive carpet that I can get in here that I can glue and shape to all this. But I want to do it all in like a Dynamat and then do it all in carpet. All the back section back here, the wheel tubs, do all that in carpet. I want to have it looking a decent interior in this car. It'll retain the same style door panels that came on the car. I'll be putting door cards over here in the quarter panels, putting them back in there. I'll make all that. Same with this back dash pad. I want to have it so you can put it back here and it'll look like original back dash in it. It's just that everything else will be done in carpet. Just want to have it tidy. That's all I'm looking to have done with it. So. And I want to seal up, I want to put something on this firewall up here to get rid of the noise and vibration and keep the heat out of the car. Other than that, but that's the type of stuff I'm into here now. I'm trying to get this car done to the point. Not worried about the carpet or the underlay or nothing. I'm just going to paint it for now. That'll come down the road because I got to wire it all and everything yet. But I want to get the main shell done. Okay, that way I can put a motor and transmission in this, get all the mechanicals done, get the turbo tubes and all that ran, get that all figured out. All the sheet metal on the front has been done. I just done no body work on it. Not worried about it right now. But when I start wiring the car, I don't want to go have fool around taping stuff up to paint the car. Okay, I'm going to get it all done, paint the car on this section here, and then I can finish the main shell to the point that I can, if I want to put carpet and everything, then I can. But like the doors, the fenders, the hood, the trunk lid, all that stuff, I can worry about that later, okay? I'm trying to get this so as a driver. I got a lot of work to do. The rear end needs a pile of work done to it. I got to put a cross brace on that, have it sandblasted. I'm changing the mounting setup here and the back side of it here so it bolts on. There's no U-bolts because I'm putting a cross brace on the rear end housing. Got to figure out a disc brake setup for the back of it. I got to send the center section out to get rebuilt, to get the gears and everything put in it. Front suspension, getting all that sandblasted, all new ball joints, lower control arms. I got to build 2 trailing arms here for it. Get all the calipers, get the brakes and everything put on it that I'm going to put on it. Get all that done, get all this stuff painted. So, you know, there's a lot of work to be done on this yet. But fabrication-wise, there'll be some on the rear end. Mostly, I'm just putting it together, so what I'll be doing from here on in, I'll be just breaking them down and doing it bit by bit, because to take a whole bunch, take one section of this car and just do a whole video on seam sealing this car, no. Right, that's why I broke it down. I wanted to put a bunch of things in there so you can actually see progress on the car. That's where I'm to with Crusty. Anyway, that's where we're going to leave this one. I hope the tips were good, and until next time.